There's a kind of silence that doesn't sound like peace. It feels like pressure. And the most haunting part? It doesn't come from you. It comes from her. Imagine this. Every single day she thinks about you, yet your phone will never light up with her name again. Because this isn't the kind of silence where love dies. No. This is where pride and pain collide. She's not gone. She's stuck. Between wanting to reach out and needing you to break first. And if you don't see that for what it is, you'll stay trapped, chained to a question that has no answer, playing a waiting game you were never meant to win. But today, we flip that. I'm going to show you the truth behind her silence, why she watches but doesn't speak, and how to shift the emotional balance without saying a single word. What you're about to hear will challenge how you see her and how you see yourself. So before we begin, like this video, subscribe to Stoic Station. Start this journey now. Don't just watch, walk forward. Drop a 1 if you've ever felt the weight of female silence, or a 2 if you've broken it and regretted it. I read every comment. I see you, and you're not alone. This isn't silence. It's a test. And what you do next rewrites everything. Let's begin. 1. Her silence isn't indifference. It's her inner war. She hasn't moved on. Not in the way you might think. Her silence isn't the silence of someone who's let go. It's the silence of someone who's stuck between pride and pain, testing to see who will break first. And while you may be telling yourself, she's done, she's forgotten, the truth is far more complicated. Behind every confident post, every picture designed to project happiness and freedom, there's a quiet war raging in her mind. One voice urges her to reach out, to check if the connection is still alive. Another warns that vulnerability means defeat. It's a battle between emotion and ego, between the longing for closeness and the fear of rejection. This is why her silence feels so unnerving, because it isn't peace. It's pressure. She remembers more than she shows. The laughter you shared, the safety in your presence, the way your voice made her feel seen in a world that often demands performance. She replays those moments in the dark, when the noise fades and no one is watching. But still, she says nothing. Because to speak, to make that move, would be to risk losing the upper hand. So instead, she watches, quietly, strategically. She rereads old texts, checks if you've seen her story, wonders if your silence is strength or indifference. Here's what most men misunderstand. Her silence isn't final. It's not closure. It's calculated hesitation. What you're experiencing isn't absence. It's a test of emotional gravity. She wants to see if you'll collapse into your craving, if you'll shatter the stillness first. Because in her mind, the one who speaks first loses. And so, every day that you don't reach out, her tension builds. Every time you hold your line, she feels the balance of power shifting, subtly but unmistakably. This is why emotional discipline matters more than ever. When you choose stillness over impulse, when you sit with the discomfort instead of reacting to it, something powerful begins to happen. You don't just resist her pull, you invert it. Your silence becomes the pressure she can't escape. It turns from mystery into weight, from uncertainty into reflection, from "I'm fine without him" into "Did I make the biggest mistake?" Let her feel that. Let her wrestle with it. Because her silence isn't a door closing. It's a mirror. And every day you stand tall without chasing, without folding, without explaining, you become more unforgettable in that reflection. Not because you said something powerful, but because you didn't have to say anything at all. She's waiting, but she's not waiting for your words. She's waiting to see if you'll abandon your center. And the moment you don't is the moment the silence turns from her strategy into her undoing. Stay still, stay grounded. Let her wonder. Let her feel the weight of losing a man who learned to remain unshaken. 2. Your silence reflects her regret. The longer you stay silent, the louder her doubt becomes. And that doubt, quiet at first, grows into something far more disruptive than guilt. You see, she didn't expect you to hold the line. She expected you to fold, because most men do. Most men reach out eventually. They break under the weight of not knowing. They send a "hey" or react to a story. They give her proof that she still matters, proof that they still need her. But you haven't done that. And now she's not just waiting. She's wagering. She's betting that your emotions will betray you before hers do, that your curiosity will outweigh your control, that your desire to be seen will override your discipline. In her mind, this has quietly become a game of emotional endurance. She's not just wondering where you are. She's testing the limits of how long you'll stay silent. Each time you don't text, you puncture her illusion of control. And make no mistake, that illusion is everything to her. It's the story she tells herself to feel powerful. He still wants me. He just doesn't know how to say it. That narrative protects her from regret. It shields her from the truth that maybe, just maybe, she let go of something irreplaceable. But silence, true silence, is a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. Your stillness doesn't just reflect back the man you've become. It reflects the emotional weight she's been trying to ignore. Every day you hold your ground, her narrative starts to collapse. What once felt like confidence begins to decay into confusion. She starts questioning what was real and what she threw away. What if he doesn't miss me at all? What if I was the one who lost more? What if I misread everything? And that's when the silence becomes more than uncomfortable. It becomes haunting. She won't be comforted by attention anymore, not from others, not even from herself, because the only attention she wants is the one that isn't coming. And that absence will start to echo louder than any message ever could. This is the part she didn't see coming, the part where her silence stops feeling like power and starts feeling like punishment. Understand something. Women don't regret instantly. Regret creeps in slowly, like a fog. It builds in the spaces where they once felt certainty. It grows in the quiet, not the chaos. And your silence becomes the emotional environment where that regret is born, not through words, not through punishment, but through contrast. She expected you to be like the others, emotional, predictable, eager. She thought you'd reach for comfort. She thought you'd need closure. But now, she's the one feeling unsteady, because the man she expected to come crawling back never showed up. And the man who replaced him, the one who stands firm in stillness, is not someone she knows how to forget. So let her sit with it. Let her questions grow. Let the silence thicken until it turns into something undeniable. This isn't about revenge. It's not about withholding to hurt. It's about allowing space for reality to catch up with her. Because your silence isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's the cleanest way to show her what she lost, without ever saying a word. And when she finally feels that space you left behind, it won't feel like freedom. It will feel like absence, the kind that doesn't get filled, the kind that lingers, the kind that turns into the deepest kind of regret. Stay still. Let the silence speak. It's already saying more than you ever could. 3. The moment you break first, you lose leverage. It only takes one message, one, "Hey, just checking in," and everything shifts. That single action, no matter how casual it seems, undoes the silence you held, the mystery you built, and the strength you were beginning to embody. In her eyes, the balance of power disappears. You fold. You confirm what she quietly hoped, that you care more. What makes this moment so dangerous is that it doesn't feel like weakness at first. It feels like relief. The pressure of silence builds slowly, loneliness, longing, the ache of uncertainty. And eventually, your mind starts convincing you that one small message couldn't possibly hurt, that it might bring closure, that it might reset something. But deep down, you know the truth. That urge to reach out isn't driven by clarity, it's driven by discomfort. You don't text because the connection needs repair. You text because you want the pain to stop. You want a sign that you still matter. And that need is exactly what strips you of your leverage. Because whether she realizes it consciously or not, she's watching. Not passively, not indifferently, but with quiet expectation. She's studying your silence like a test of your emotional endurance. She's wondering if your curiosity will betray you before her pride bends. And the moment you make a move, it tells her everything. I still have him. That message, that gesture, even that like on her story, it's not neutral. It confirms that she still has space in your mind, that you're still waiting for her return, that she never truly left your emotional orbit. And if she knows she still has you emotionally available on demand, then there's no urgency to miss you, no fear of loss, no space for reflection, just reassurance that you're exactly where she left you, waiting. And this is why silence must be reframed, not as a tactic to manipulate, but as a posture of strength. True silence is emotional composure under pressure. It's not cold. It's not cruel. It's a refusal to act from weakness. When you hold your line despite the discomfort, despite the craving for contact, you're telling the world and yourself that you won't trade dignity for momentary relief. In that silence, you become something different. You shift from predictable to rare, from emotionally accessible to sovereign. And in that stillness, you stop being someone she's trying to read and become someone she no longer understands. That mystery isn't just attractive, it's unforgettable. Because the men who chase rarely win, and the men who fold first never do. To be clear, this isn't about playing games. It's about reclaiming control over your reactions. It's about choosing long-term clarity over short-term comfort. When you break first, you hand her the emotional advantage. You give her certainty, and in doing so, you lose the very tension that makes you valuable. But when you don't break, when you stay quiet, grounded, unreadable, you invite her into her own uncertainty. And it's in that silence that she begins to feel your absence. Not just notice it, but feel it, deeply, quietly, irrevocably. So if you're tempted to reach out, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this from strength or from discomfort? If it's discomfort, don't move, don't speak. Let the silence do its work, because real power doesn't chase, it doesn't plead, it doesn't explain itself. It simply remains, still, steady, unshaken. And in a world where everyone breaks first, be the one who doesn't. For women don't miss what's always there, they miss what vanishes. Predictable men are easy to forget. There's no mystery in someone who never leaves, no weight in someone who never pulls away. A man who constantly reaches out, who lingers in her orbit, who responds to every post or watches every story. He may think he's staying relevant, but all he's really doing is draining the power of absence. Because it's not attention that creates longing, it's distance, it's uncertainty, it's the quiet question that doesn't get answered. When you keep reacting, when you stay in her field of view emotionally or digitally, you erase the unknown. And without the unknown, there's no tension. Without tension, there's no gravity. And without gravity, there's no regret. She doesn't stay up at night wondering about the man who texts "good morning" every 3 days. She stays up thinking about the man who vanished. No explanation, no drama, just a shift in energy so strong it left a void. This is the truth most men overlook. Women don't process absence logically, they feel it emotionally. And when someone important suddenly disappears from their emotional landscape, it doesn't fade quietly, it echoes. Her mind will start to fill the silence with emotion, memory, nostalgia, curiosity, and if the connection was real, regret will eventually follow. That's the power of absence. It's not the disappearance itself that hurts, it's what the disappearance forces her to confront. She begins to imagine scenarios, replays, memories, wonders what she did or didn't do. It's not always conscious. Often it's quiet, subtle, but it lingers. And here's where your evolution becomes the most potent force. If she sees that you didn't just disappear to punish her, but to rebuild yourself, to grow, to elevate, something shifts in her. It stings. Not because she wants to hold you back, but because she realizes she no longer has access to the version of you she once took for granted. Watching you live fully, evolve quietly, and rise confidently without her involvement hurts in a way no message ever could. You don't become unforgettable by being louder. You don't become magnetic by begging for attention. You become unforgettable by becoming unreachable. You become magnetic by becoming disciplined. Disappear not out of bitterness, but out of clarity, out of a deep decision to choose yourself over anything that keeps you small. Let her feel what she lost through the emptiness you leave behind. Let your absence be a reflection, not a punishment. Let it say, I was here, I gave fully, and now I'm no longer available to what doesn't grow me. Because once a woman realizes that she can no longer summon you with a story view or a status update, once she understands that the version of you who once waited is now the version building something greater, she doesn't just feel your absence, she regrets losing access to you, she misses what she can no longer reach. So stop trying to remind her you're still there. That's not how memory works. You don't stay in her heart by being present every day. You stay by disappearing so powerfully that the silence becomes a part of her inner voice. You become the story she can't finish, the open loop her emotions keep coming back to, and in that way you haunt her, not with noise, but with presence that no longer answers, not with bitterness, but with peace she can't touch, not by proving your worth, but by embodying it. Be the one she remembers because you vanished to become someone she no longer deserves. 5. Silence isn't a strategy, it's a state of being. If you're only being silent to get a reaction from her, then you're not free. You're still emotionally tethered. You're still playing the same game, just wearing a different mask. True silence, the kind that creates gravity, isn't meant to provoke. It's meant to protect. It's not a chess move. It's a new posture of self-respect. Too many men fake silence. They pull away with one eye still on her stories, still checking if she notices, still waiting for a sign. But silence used as a tactic isn't silence at all. It's manipulation wrapped in restraint. It's performance. And women can feel that, because energy doesn't lie. Real silence is different. It's not just the absence of words, it's the presence of purpose. When you become silent because you've shifted your focus from needing her to building yourself, that's when silence becomes powerful. That's when it starts working, not against her, but for you. Because if you're still waiting, you haven't left. If you're still hoping for a text, still scanning for signs, still wondering when she'll notice, then you're not living, you're just pausing. And in that emotional limbo, she still feels your energy. She doesn't truly feel your absence because on some level, she knows you're holding your breath, hoping she'll come back. That's why she doesn't miss you, because she doesn't feel what it's like to truly lose you. This is the truth most men avoid confronting. Detachment isn't about doing less. It's about becoming more. It's not about ignoring her to make her feel pain. It's about investing in yourself so deeply that her opinion no longer holds power over your next move. It's about choosing peace over pursuit, expansion over obsession. Silence, when it becomes your state of being, is no longer a temporary phase. It's a way of walking through life. It means you've stopped needing external validation to feel worthy. It means you've returned home to yourself. And when that happens, something in her shifts. Because now your energy is no longer reaching for her. It's no longer orbiting around her presence or absence. You're no longer emotionally available, not because you're trying to hurt her, but because you've become emotionally whole, complete without her. That's when the silence begins to speak louder than anything you could say. That's when she begins to wonder, not because you're ignoring her, but because you're no longer waiting. There's no desperation, no hidden expectation, just forward motion, just growth, just the quiet power of a man who's not chasing anything that walked away from him. So if you're silent right now, ask yourself honestly, are you waiting or are you rising? Because the difference between those two is everything. One keeps you stuck in emotional dependency. The other pulls you into evolution. The goal isn't to be silent so she'll reach out. The goal is to be silent so you can hear yourself again, so you can build again, so you can finally let go. Only when you truly stop waiting for her will she feel that you're gone, not just physically, but energetically. That's when she'll feel the emptiness, the absence, the void where your attention used to be. And that is when your silence becomes undeniable. Not a game, not a trick, but a truth. A presence that's no longer available. Silence isn't how you win her back. It's how you get yourself back. And when you finally live from that place, not pretending, but truly detached, your absence will echo in ways your presence never could. 6. Emotional discipline is the new attraction. In a world flooded with emotionally reactive men who text when they're lonely, chase when they feel ignored, and crumble the moment silence stretches, stillness is no longer just admirable. It's magnetic. It's rare. And in the eyes of a woman who's used to controlling the rhythm of connection, it's deeply unsettling in the most unforgettable way. You can't just avoid texting her. She has to feel that she no longer has access to your emotional center. This isn't about appearing distant. It's about being untouchable at the level where most men break. Because she doesn't just notice that you've stopped reaching out. She starts sensing that she can't shake you anymore, that her old patterns no longer work on you. And that realization is more attractive than any compliment, gesture, or performance you could offer. Emotional discipline isn't numbness. It's not denial. It means you feel everything, the ache, the nostalgia, the temptation, but you don't flinch. You let the craving pass like a wave without reacting to it. You miss her, but you don't reach. You wonder if she's thinking of you, but you don't act on that curiosity. You keep your composure not because you don't care, but because you've chosen purpose over panic. Most men don't. When the craving spikes, they fold. They seek relief, not results. They want to silence the noise in their heads, so they chase. They send a message to soothe themselves, not realizing they've just weakened their position. They've made their emotions visible and controllable. But when you hold the line, when you don't chase comfort, you become the man who lives above chaos. You no longer move at the pace of your impulses. You move with intention, and women feel that. She doesn't just see your silence, she feels your steadiness, and that steadiness creates attraction on a level most men never reach. This is where emotional discipline becomes a spiritual edge. The very moment your brain screams to reconnect, use it. Redirect the dopamine surge. Use the fire not to burn through your dignity, but to forge yourself into something sharper. Journal what you want to say, but refuse to send it. Lift when you want to text. Build when you want to beg. Read when your mind wants to rewind. Lead your life forward instead of orbiting around someone who walked away. You have to understand this. Emotional control is not repression. It's redirection. You're not bottling it up. You're turning it into strength, into clarity, into movement. You're no longer the man who acts to feel better. You're the man who feels everything, but chooses not to act unless it aligns with his highest standard. And that is what separates the ordinary from the unforgettable. Because women are not drawn to men who simply look confident. They're drawn to men who have emotional sovereignty, who feel pain without reacting, who miss someone without making it their identity, who stand firm in silence without needing attention to validate their existence. That is emotional attraction in its purest form, and when you master it, you stop trying to win her back. You become the kind of man she can't stop thinking about, not because you chased, but because you were the only one who didn't. So the next time your fingers itch to reach out, pause. Let that feeling be your signal to rise, not toward her, but into your own evolution. Let your stillness speak. Let your restraint echo. Because real power isn't loud, it's controlled. And in that control, you become the rarest force she'll ever encounter, a man she can't move, and one she'll never forget. 7. Your stillness is the storm she never expected. You don't need to do anything to be felt. You don't need to reach out, prove your worth, or make a statement. Your most powerful move now is to stop chasing completely. Because in the emotional chessboard of a broken connection, the man who stops reacting is the one who shifts the board itself. The truth is, most men try too hard to be remembered. They send messages, leave traces, watch stories, post things designed to be seen. They don't realize that the moment you try to be noticed, you give away your greatest leverage, your absence. Silence, when it's real, when it's rooted in a deep decision to walk forward with your life, doesn't need a spotlight. It casts its own shadow. You're trying to be heard, but your greatest power is to disappear completely, not out of bitterness, but out of alignment. Not to punish her, but to reclaim yourself. While she performs strength for the world, posting quotes about healing, smiling in filtered photos, acting like she's untouched, you become strength in silence. You don't prove you've changed. You change, and you don't announce it. You embody it. That's what she never expected. She thought you'd be haunted. She thought you'd spiral, wait, watch, send the inevitable message that confirmed what she needed to believe, that she still had you. But the roles are beginning to reverse. Because you didn't just go quiet, you became still. And that stillness is not passive, it's active. It's movement without noise, growth without neediness. And now, she feels it. You become the man she tells no one she misses, the one she pretends to forget, the one her friends assume is a closed chapter. But it's not for her. Because deep down, she knows she can't reach you anymore. Not the way she used to. Not with a photo, not with a post, not even with a message. The emotional bridge has collapsed, and not because you burned it, but because you outgrew it. This is where the emotional tide turns, not because you won some game, but because you stopped playing altogether. She starts wondering where you went, not physically, but energetically. She feels the shift. The silence becomes a presence of its own. It starts filling rooms she walks into. It sits next to her at night. It hums in the background when the noise fades and she's finally alone. And it hurts, not because you tried to hurt her, but because she finally realizes she lost something she never thought would walk away on its own. That's the difference. You didn't chase. You didn't collapse. You walked. And you kept walking. You built a life so full, so meaningful, so grounded in who you're becoming, that she slowly fades into context. She doesn't vanish, but she becomes a chapter, not your ending. You're no longer trying to be remembered. That's not your goal anymore. You're becoming impossible to forget, not by staying in her life, but by becoming the man she no longer has access to. And no amount of attention, curiosity, or regret can reverse what your stillness has already set in motion. You are not her memory to revisit. You are the man she can't reach. And that silence, that storm, was never something she saw coming. Stay still. Keep building. Let her wonder. Because the most unforgettable man is the one who learned to disappear, not out of pride, but out of peace. If this message woke something up in you, don't let it fade. Let it fuel you. Like this video, subscribe to Stoic Station, and drop a comment. I choose power over impulse. Because this isn't the end. It's the turning point. The man you're becoming is built in moments like this. Stay with that power. Let it guide you. And before this moment fades, tap the next video on screen. That's where your clarity deepens and your next move begins. Keep walking forward.